This tutorial is powered by AskQuesty.com. Get help with your website on demand. And don't forget, subscribe for more tutorials.
In this video, I'll be showing you how to change your fonts in WordPress. So navigate to your WordPress site and suppose you want to change your font. So navigate to Dashboard and go to Appearances, Themes. Now, right now I'm using the FolioPress theme, but your theme could be different because WordPress has thousands and thousands of themes. So each theme is different. If I preview the Astra theme, for example, now it's loading, you'll notice that it has this typography option over here, typography. And so that allows you to select what type of fonts you want, default, normal, right? So this particular theme, Astra, has a lot of options in typography for fonts. Now let's exit out of this and take a look at another theme. Let's look at the Lyrical Theme. Now for Lyrical Theme, it's a little different. It doesn't have the option called typography, but it has one called fonts. So you can customize what type of font you want for site title, navigation, heading, primary, etc. For the for the theme I'm using currently, the FolioPress theme, I can click Customize at the top, and there is no option to customize the font whatsoever. There's no font button, nor is there a typography button. So how would I change the font? How would I customize the font? Well, that's what I'll be showing you in this video. So one simple option is to use Google Fonts, which is a plugin for your WordPress. To get Google Fonts, you want to go to Dashboard again and go to the plugins. Inside of plugins, you want to install Google Fonts typography. Now, I will deactivate Google Fonts and delete it and show you again how I installed it. So to install a new plugin, you go to Add New and search for font. The first option is Google Fonts, and you install that. After installation, click Activate. Now that Google Fonts typography is activated, you can go to your WordPress site, go to the top left, Customize, and now the Google Fonts option will be available. So click on Google Fonts, and in your basic settings, you can change what kind of font you want. So suppose I want to customize this heading. Instead of doing default font, I can do Arial, I can do Helvetica. I can customize whatever font I want. So they give you some options here, quite a lot of options. And you can customize as you want. With Google Fonts typography, however, it is limited and there is an option to upgrade to Pro. So if you scroll down to upgrade to Pro, they have different plans such as business, team, and personal that cost different amounts of money and provide you with different levels of customizability. Now, if you don't want to upgrade to Pro, but you still want the most control over your fonts, you have another option. So exit out. So suppose I want to add a custom font. So I can go to Google Fonts, search Google Fonts, and go to fonts.google.com. And here you can search up whatever font you want. So you can do, suppose I search comic, and suppose I like this font, the 10-cent comics. So I'm going to click on the font. So this is inside of this 10-cent font. And it turns out it costs money. So let's pretend I select a different font. So let's say this one. It also costs money. I'll just take a random font, for example. So going back to directory or just Google font. And I will use the Lexend Exa font. So let's click on that font. So you can select whatever font, but this is just for example, I'll use Lexend Exa. Okay, so if you want this particular font, what you want to do is click select font, this font. And down here below on the bottom right, you have one font family selected, and that's the Lexend Exa font. So next what you do is you want to copy this link, and then you want to navigate to dashboard again and go down here to appearance theme editor. Inside of theme editor, head to your header.php. And with fonts, coding wise, you need to add a font to the head tag. So I will add the font here. So this piece of code here comes from me copying it from here. So after you've added the Lexend Exa font to the head tag, next you want to update file down here on the bottom left. Might be hard to see, but update file. It says file edited successfully. This means now you have added the font to your WordPress website. It's an available font that now you can use. So head over to your website, go to customize, and go to additional CSS. Inside of additional CSS, here is where we will create the class that allows you to use the Lexend Exa font. So over here, this font, you want to copy this bit of code that says font family, etc. And then over here, you want to create a CSS class. Let's say Lexend Exa. Okay, so this is what the CSS class will be called. And then you want to put the double curly braces. And then you want to paste the code that you got from Google Fonts. And then click publish. Next, what you want to do is open up your website again and edit, and just go to a whatever website you want, whatever page you want to edit. So let's say over here I put Fruit Day and I preview it. So over here, Fruit Day, I want to change this font to be the Lexend Exa font. So to do that, in the edit page, I will go to advanced on the bottom right and add a CSS class. This CSS class will be this CSS class you just created right here. And you want to copy this and paste it over here. And then you click preview. Inside of preview, you see that now Fruit Day has been changed to the Lexend Exa font, or whatever font that you've chosen. And that looks good, so you go to click the update button. So what's happened here is when you reload, you'll notice that this Fruit Day says, this Fruit Day is now in your custom font. So to recap, how did I turn this bit of text into the Lexend Exa font. Okay, so here's how it works. The first thing I did is I saved the Lexend Exa font. I selected it, and Google allowed me to copy this bit of code. When you copy this bit of code and you paste it inside of the theme editor, right? So header.php, and I added it right here. What this effectively does is it says, hey Google, add the Lexend Exa font, or add this font to my website so that it's an available option for me and I can use this font in the future. So this bit of code adds the Lexend Exa font to your website. So your website recognizes this font and can use it. Then in the custom CSS, the additional CSS, you create a class, which is basically a label. And this label is called Lexend Exa. You can name it whatever you want, but I named it Lexend Exa. And this means that every single time I use this label, the Lexend Exa label, it will make the text look in this font. Right? So every time I use this label, it transforms text to be the Lexend Exa font. So if I give the Lexend Exa label to Jonathan Lee up here, then it will change the font to look like the Lexend Exa font. So now all you have to do is to apply this Lexend Exa label onto any text you want to be formatted Lexend Exa font. So inside of this homepage, I chose to add the Lexend Exa label onto this bit of text. And you add it by putting it in this box that says additional CSS class, which basically adds this label onto the text here. I hope that makes sense. So that is how you change your fonts in WordPress. Okay, so to recap, there are multiple ways to do this. If your theme allows you to edit your font, that is the best. And that's the first method. The second method is to use Google Fonts plugin, right? So this is the second option, Google Fonts plugin. And if that is still not customized enough, then you can go and use this Google Fonts method, which is more complicated and will require you to do some magic with CSS. Okay, so that is how you change your fonts in WordPress. Hope that helped.
Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, please subscribe. And if you need extra help, visit AskQuesty.com and send us your questions.